At his compound, women were gathered. Some were cooking. Some were crying. They spoke softly among themselves. Obi did not greet anyone. He walked straight inside. He saw his father sitting quietly with others. Mr. Chidi looked thinner. Older. Broken. Obi felt anger rise again, not toward his father, but toward himself. He turned away and went into his room. Dust covered his belongings, but everything remained in place, just as he left it. That night, Obi lay awake, staring into nothing. His mother was gone. The voice that corrected him was silent forever. The burial of Mrs. Kayoma came quietly, without noise or celebration. The house that once held laughter was now filled with silence and low voices. People came and went, offering words of comfort, but none of it reached Obi's heart. He moved through the days like someone lost, carrying a weight he did not know how to drop. From the moment he returned home, Obi shut himself off. He did not greet people properly. He did not sit with visitors. He stayed away from the women who cried and the men who tried to encourage him. His pain felt too heavy to share, and his guilt too deep to explain. On the morning of the burial, Obi dressed without care. He followed his father and brother without speaking. As they stood by the grave, Obi's eyes stayed fixed on the ground. His hands were tight by his side. He did not cry openly like others. His pain was locked inside him. Mr. Chidi wept openly. He had lost his wife, his partner, and the woman who held his home together. Ike stood beside him, silent, staring at their mother's grave. Ike's face showed pain, but also maturity. He understood loss differently. Obi felt something else. Anger. As the burial ended and people slowly left, Obi's anger surged for a place to rest. Instead of facing his guilt, he pushed it outward. His eyes followed Ike everywhere. Each step Ike took reminded him of something he could not accept. That evening, Ike walked toward Obi and pulled him into a tight hug. "My brother," Ike said softly, "I am here." Obi pushed him away. "You left," Obi shouted. "You forgot about me. You stayed in the city while everything happened here." Ike tried to explain. He told Obi he did not know how bad their mother's sickness was. He said he would have come home if he had known. But Obi was not listening. To Obi, Ike represented abandonment. To Obi, Ike was a reminder that he was left behind. "If Mama did not die," Obi said with tears in his eyes, "would you have come back?" Ike stood silent. He did not argue. He knew Obi was speaking from pain, not reason. Obi turned away and locked himself in his room. He refused to eat. He refused to talk. When his father tried to speak to him, he answered with silence or short replies. His heart was closing slowly. The wake passed. The nights were long. The house felt empty without Mrs. Kayoma's voice. No one reminded Obi to eat. No one corrected him gently. No one prayed over him at night. Days later, Ike prepared to return to the city. He believed staying longer would only increase Obi's anger. Before leaving, he went to Obi's room one last time. "We need to talk," Ike said. Obi did not turn. "I am going back to the city tomorrow," Ike continued. "Come with me. You can start fresh. Baba will be fine here." Obi said nothing. Ike tried again. "It was not your fault." That was when Obi turned. "Then whose fault is it?" he shouted. "If I was not greedy, if I did not fight, she would still be alive." Ike explained gently. He told Obi the truth. That their mother had been sick for a long time. That she stopped working months before her death. That she did not tell Obi because she did not want him to worry. "But she could tell you," Obi said bitterly. Ike lowered his head. He had no answer that could heal Obi's pain. "I am not coming to the city," Obi said firmly. "Leave me alone." Ike left quietly the next morning. He looked back at the house one last time, hoping his brother would change his mind. Obi did not come out. After Ike left, the house became quieter. Mr. Chidi returned to farming to survive. He worked longer hours, trying to avoid the silence waiting for him at home. Obi stayed in his room most days. He slept late. He woke late. He avoided people. Obi was alive, but broken. The boy who once chased food now chased nothing. The anger that once pushed others away now trapped him alone. After Ike returned to the city, Obi's life fell into a slow routine of emptiness. Days passed without meaning. He woke up late, walked around the village without purpose, and returned home without speaking to anyone. His anger was still there, but it had changed. It was no longer loud. It was quiet and heavy. One evening, Obi decided to walk toward the village square. He did not know why. Maybe he wanted distraction. Maybe he just wanted to escape the silence of his room. As he walked, a familiar voice called out. Ib. Up. Obi turned. Standing before him was Kachi. For a moment, Obi could not speak. The last time he saw Kachi, he disappeared without explanation. Now he was standing there, well-dressed, confident, and smiling. His clothes were fine. His hair was neatly cut. A gold chain rested on his neck. They hugged each other tightly. Obi was full of questions. Where have you been? He asked. How did you get like this? Kachi laughed softly. It's a long story, he said. But my brother, I made it. Those words stayed with Obi. They sat and talked. Kachi spoke freely. He talked about money, comfort, and enjoyment. He spoke like someone who had tasted something sweet and wanted more. Obi listened quietly. His eyes followed Kachi's movements. He noticed the confidence, the ease, the respect people gave him as they passed. Finally, Obi asked the question burning inside him. How did you make the money? Kachi leaned closer. His voice dropped. Are you sure you want to know? He asked. Obi nodded. Kachi whispered the truth into Obi's ear. The words shocked him. It involved rituals. It involved women. It involved death. Obi jumped up immediately. God forbid, he shouted. That thing is not for me. Kachi looked at him calmly. Why are you shouting? He asked. Will you do it or not? Obi shook his head. I am not interested, he said firmly. Kachi stood up, annoyed. That is why you will never make it, he said before walking away. That night, Obi could not sleep. He kept telling himself he made the right choice. He reminded himself of his mother's death. He told himself that money gotten through blood could never bring peace. Still, something else whispered inside him. Poverty. Loneliness. Regret. Days passed. Then Obi started seeing Kachi again. Not alone. With women. At joints. Spending money freely. Laughing. Buying drinks like water. Everywhere Kachi went, attention followed him. Obi watched from a distance. Something stirred inside him again. He remembered his mother's words. He remembered his father's struggles. He remembered how Ike left to build a life. Slowly, greed returned, not loud, but persuasive. This life is hard, Obi told himself. I have suffered enough. The thoughts grew stronger each day. The refusal he once had began to weaken. The temptation did not come suddenly. It grew patiently. One evening, Obi walked up to Kachi. I am ready, he said quietly. Kachi smiled. They talked and planned carefully. Kachi told him they would meet on Friday night. He would introduce Obi to the man behind the money. As Friday approached, Obi became uneasy. His heart was not settled. Fear battled with desire. But greed spoke louder. He had already taken the first step. And sometimes, the first step is the most dangerous. Friday was close. Obi felt it in his chest. Each hour dragged like a heavy load. He tried to distract himself, but his mind kept returning to the plan he made with Kachi. Fear sat beside desire. One moment he told himself he would not go. The next moment he reminded himself of how hard life had been since his mother died. That afternoon, as Obi paced inside his room, he heard his father's voice calling him. Obi. He froze. Since the burial, Obi had barely spoken to his father. Mr. Chidi had allowed him space, believing pain needed time. But that day, he felt it was time to speak. Mr. Chidi entered the room slowly and sat on the edge of the bed. He looked tired. Not just from work, but from carrying too much in his heart. My son, he began, we need to talk. Obi stood still. He did not answer. Mr. Chidi took a deep breath. You have carried blame for too long, he said. And it is breaking you. Obi turned toward him, his eyes filled with confusion and anger. You did not kill your mother, Mr. Chidi said clearly. Those words cut through Obi's heart. Mr. Chidi continued. He told Obi the truth he had hidden for months. After Obi was taken to Mr. Sunday's house, Mrs. Kyoma was diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. The sickness was serious. It had already spread. She stopped working long before she died. "We did not tell you," Mr. Chidi said, his voice shaking, "because we did not want you to break. She did not want you to worry." Obi's legs gave way. He sat down slowly. "She loved you deeply," Mr. Chidi said. "That is why she corrected you. That is why she prayed for you. Even when she was in pain, she spoke about you with hope." Tears rolled freely down Obi's face. "All this time," Obi whispered, "I thought I killed her." Mr. Chidi placed his hands on Obi's shoulders. "She wanted you to be better," he said. "Not broken." Obi broke down completely. He cried like a child. He begged his father for forgiveness. He spoke about his anger, his greed, his shame, and the plan he almost followed. "I was ready to destroy myself," Obi said. "I am sorry." Mr. Chidi held him close. "I may not be here forever," he said, "but your brother Ike will always be there for you. Be his keeper, as he is yours." For the first time since his mother's death, Obi felt relief. The weight he carried lifted. The darkness that clouded his judgment began to clear. "I will go to the city," Obi said softly. "I will work with Ike. I will change." That night, Obi slept peacefully. He held his mother's picture close. For the first time, sleep came without guilt or fear. But elsewhere, Friday night still came. Kachi waited. Obi did not show up. Annoyed and confident, Kachi decided to go alone. He believed he had mastered the path to quick wealth. He believed nothing could go wrong. But things went wrong. The ritual failed. Something broke inside Kachi's mind. Fear replaced confidence. He ran through the night shouting and singing, unaware of where he was going. By morning, village children found him lying in a gutter. Dirty. Confused. Lost. The same people who once admired his wealth now pitied him. Kachi never recovered. Word spread quickly through the village. When Obi heard what happened, he fell silent. He understood how close he came to destruction. He realized how thin the line was between temptation and ruin. That day, Obi chose life. After the news of Kachi's madness spread through the village, fear and questions followed. Many people remembered seeing Obi and Kachi together days earlier. Whispers grew louder. Some wondered if Obi was also involved. Obi knew silence would only allow lies to grow. So one morning, Obi walked to the village square and asked to see the village head. Standing before the elders, Obi told the truth. He spoke without hiding anything. He explained how Kachi made his money, how the rituals worked, and how he was invited to join. He admitted that greed almost took control of him. He told them how his father stopped him in time. The elders listened quietly. When Obi finished, the village head nodded slowly. Obi was not praised, but he was understood. The truth cleared his name. More importantly, it cleared his conscience. Not long after, Obi made a decision. He could not remain in the village doing nothing. He remembered his promise to his father. He packed his things and left for the city to join Ike. Life in the city was not easy. There was no quick money. No shortcuts. Ike welcomed him without bitterness. He gave him work, taught him patience, and reminded him daily that success built slowly lasts longer. They worked together, saved together, and struggled together. Over time, they opened a small electronics shop. It was not big, but it was honest. Customers came because they trusted them. Obi learned how to relate with people, how to wait, and how to grow step by step. The same Obi who once fought over food now learned to share responsibility. Years passed. Ike got married and had children. Obi became an uncle. He played with the children, guided them, and corrected them gently, remembering how his mother once corrected him. He understood now that discipline was love. When their father, Mr. Chidi, could no longer manage farming, Obi brought him to the city. He took care of him with pride. Feeding his father felt like repayment for all the patience he once rejected. Obi also began to think about his own future. He planned to return to school. He wanted a degree, not for pride, but for growth. He wanted knowledge to guide his steps better than greed ever did. He was also seeing a woman. She was kind and simple. Obi did not rush. He wanted to build his life properly before marriage. He had learned that rushing often leads to regret. Sometimes, Obi remembered Kachi. He remembered the confidence, the money, the laughter. He also remembered the madness, the gutter, the wasted future. Each memory reminded him how close he came to destruction. One evening, Obi sat quietly and thought about his mother. He remembered her voice, her warnings, her love. He finally understood everything she tried to teach him. Greed does not announce itself loudly. It grows quietly. It promises comfort but demands life. Wisdom, on the other hand, is patient. It delays reward but protects the future. Obi was no longer the boy who ate without thinking. He was no longer the child who fought over sweet. He was no longer the young man angry at the world. He had become a man who learned. And that lesson stayed with him. Greed eats life. Wisdom builds it. If you enjoy African village stories, moral stories, and life-changing narrations, this video is for you. Thumbs up sign like the video if you learned something. Push pin subscribe for more powerful African stories. Obi did not greet anyone. He walked straight inside. He saw his father sitting quietly with others. Mr. Chidi looked thinner, older, broken. Obi felt anger rise again, not toward his father, but toward himself. He turned away and went into his room. Dust covered his belongings, but everything remained in place, just as he left it. That night, Obi lay awake, staring into nothing. His mother was gone. The voice that corrected him was silent forever. Death came, but Obi's story isn't over. What follows may change everything, and not in the way anyone expects. Stay tuned for part 2. Like, subscribe, and share.